first entered human history less than 3,000 years ago.
Less than 3,000 years ago,
He
dog.
appeared about the same time that people began to worship a single god. Earlier religions, including the ancient Egyptian religion, were based upon a belief in many gods, complex gods who could either do good or cause harm. But it's here in the ancient religions where the roots of the modern devil lie. The site of Nagada on the west bank of the Nile dates back nearly 5,000 years. Here, the ancient Egyptians built a temple dedicated to Seth, who's always depicted with the head of a weird mythical animal. Seth was the god of the desert, darkness, storms, and chaos. On the face of it, he shares certain qualities we associate with the devil. And the story of Seth would seem to bear this out. According to the myth, Seth was jealous of his brother Osiris. So he trapped Osiris, murdered him, and cut his body into dozens of pieces. But even after this terrible deed, the ancient Egyptian people thought of Seth as violent, but not evil. And although he was feared, he was also worshipped. The ancient Egyptians actually built temples in his honor. Today, only ruins
don't know why
remain.
he killed his brother then. They just running off at the mouth. Okay.
People journeyed to this temple to make offerings to one of the most dangerous and powerful gods in the Egyptian pantheon. This might seem like strange behavior to us today. Can you imagine openly building a temple dedicated to Satan? But the relationships between people and gods was different in ancient Egypt, and so were the gods themselves.
Seth wasn't Satan. He had good qualities too, like strength and virility. As a god of warfare, he had the power to protect the Egyptians from foreign invaders. But in the ancient Egyptian religion, all the gods could cause misfortune. So the hope was to get them on your side.
Just like us, though. We are gods and we can all cause harm. Yeah. You know, it's about being righteous.
That's it.
15 miles downriver from Nagada is one of the largest and most famous religious complexes in the world. The massive Egyptian temple called Karnak. The temple is dedicated to a number of different gods. Worshippers came to this temple to gain favor and to appeal for good fortune. This particular section of Karnak was dedicated to the goddess Mut, another complex deity.
The lioness goddess is one manifestation of the goddess Mut. Her name means Sahmet, which means the powerful one.
Mut has two sides, a calm, motherly side, and a bloodthirsty, destructive side that lashed out, sometimes for no good reason. But all Egyptian gods could be manipulated or appeased. You just had to offer them the right gifts and prayers.
Now, this column was part of a temple that was built by an Egyptian king to appease the goddess Mut.
If we look closer at the text, we can get a better idea of what the Egyptians fed Mut to keep her from wreaking havoc.
This is the Egyptian sign for beer, and this is the chief thing that you want to offer to the goddess Mut, because this is what makes her calm and motherly. When she doesn't have beer in her temple space, she can be very angry and work against you.
But even when angry, vindictive, and cruel, gods like Mut and Seth still weren't considered demonic. Egyptians believed that good and bad two sides of the same coin. There was no notion of having to choose between them. But an ancient god from a different religion bears much more of a physical resemblance to our image of Satan. A Greek deity named Pan. Pan was also worshipped in what is now northern Israel, in a place called Banias. By the 4th century BCE, Greek cultural influences had spread to this part of the Galilee. This wooded area with its spring and cave was believed by local people to be the home of Pan. Pan was associated with nature, music, and fertility. Dr. Mordechai Aviam is an expert on this ancient site.
When local people started to believe in Greek gods and goddesses, they associated places with the gods and goddesses. As Pan is the god of nature, water, and caves, this is just natural that this place would be dedicated to Pan.
Pan was usually depicted with prominent horns and had goat's hairy legs and hooves. Like the Egyptian gods, Pan was complex and changeable, sometimes playful, and sometimes exceedingly bad, tempting people to drunkenness and wild sex, traits that would later show up in the devil.
Now, Pan is the god of disorder.
Yes, and this is the origin for the word panic. When people were walking in the woods and suddenly someone comes out of the bushes, half man, half goat, everyone was panicked. So it is going very well with disorder, although he was a very funny creature, and these beautiful girls dancing. It was also very fun.
Even before the Greek religion reached Banias, a similar nature god had been worshipped here for thousands of years. And local people came to this spring to drink, dance, feast, and frolic. In 19 BCE, King Herod the Great, a Jewish king installed by the Romans, constructed a grand marble temple here dedicated to Pan, turning the once humble gathering place into a formal shrine.
Famous with the devil shit. They tell that shit and people can't see it.
The cave now was blocked with a beautiful building. So a new place was built for Pan, and it is artificial cave that you see on top of us.
Pan's devout followers built the artificial cave because they felt that the god was meant to be worshipped outside, in nature.
So Pan is so connected to the wild that he's part animal.
Exactly.
For an Egyptologist, that's completely normal, to have a god that's made up part animal, part human,
but
right?
not so much to the Greek gods. Most of the Greek gods and goddesses are beautiful human beings.
And that's why people worship Pan so much. He's the god of drunken revelry, of orgies, of doing whatever an animal wants to do with baser urges.
Pan is a god that people loved.
Pan was worshipped here until the Muslim conquest in the 7th century. With his horns and debauched ways, the ancient Greek god Pan shared some important features with the modern devil. But again, Pan wasn't considered evil. The concept of pure evil would come later.